Hi class, my name is Alex Ferriolo and I did my research proposal on a controversial issue that hits close to home, and that is paper versus plastic bag usage. Now, in the inner cities, a lot of retail stores and supermarkets give out plastic bags, which could cause very substantial deterioration of our economy and our ecosystem in the days ahead. But it is cheaper for stores and supermarkets, and it's definitely cheaper for the patrons to be using plastic, because with the paper bill and the carry-out reduction bill, the New York City municipality will be charging 5 cents per paper bag. Now, this does mean that though the use of paper bags will probably be better for the environment, it probably will continue to get more expensive for the patrons using the paper bags. Some cons of paper bags would probably be that they break easier. So if you're carrying them on a rainy day and you have to walk 15 blocks from your nearest grocer back home to your apartment, they do have a chance of breaking. Now, plastic is probably easier to carry from that grocery store to your apartment, but a lot of people tend to throw them out. They get stuck in trees, they get stuck in rivers, they get stuck in subway grates, and that could be something that could damage our environment over time. Now, I chose this topic because I felt that it was controversial to the actual economy of urban cities. Now, because some people can't afford to pay the 5 cents per bag, that could add up. So if you're doing 5 cents per bag and you have 10 bags, that's a lot of money. So I chose to channel some discussions from class. I chose to use Terry Carter's The Red Hook Experiment, which was a positive influence of the creation of drug courts in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Now, I said in my essay that the attempt to revitalize the low-income neighborhood and to stabilize the courts fixes the drug problem in Brooklyn. Now, in comparison to the plastic bags, if we're giving a positive spin on these plastic bags or paper bags, we could probably suggest that the bag tax would hinder low-income neighborhoods. Terry Carter also suggests that federal income for the drug court budgets aren't as attainable. So with the paper and plastic bags, legislators and lobbyists could try to push for the retail stores to cover these plastic bags, so the patrons aren't paying 5 cents or 10 cents a bag, and they will be the responsibility of these establishments to pay for the tax of the bags. I also touched upon Max Weber's Economy and Society. Now, answering the question of why this is important definitely retreats back to the economic interest of the whole idea. The law of the bag tax can only provide a political and social contribution to authority, so therefore the reason for the tax would be try to organize the community. We don't want to hinder it. We just want to organize where the bags are going, what kind of impact it's making on environmental decisions. It's true that paper bags do have a greater mass, and they're probably harder to make than plastic. They add 5 to 7 times more tonnage to waste. But since we're adding the tax, it's probably hindering the public more than the economy would, and the ecosystem would be hindered. Like I said, paper bags do get wet on trips, so that would probably be not so fun. I also had an outside source, Jenny Romer. She's an attorney and an environmentalist in New York City. She paneled a model for the issue of plastic versus paper bags. She mentions that the ordinance for the tax has come about by legislators in the New York City area. On August 22nd in 2013, a bill was introduced. This is the bill that would be a 10-cent charge in the Westchester area, Rye and Mamaroneck. The Bag at NYC Council actually supports legislation that included business people, local advocates, and coalitions that would start educational programs about reusable bags, which are very important. I know in my community, if you're not seen with a reusable bag at your local grocery store, it's kind of weird. It's weird that if you're seen with brown paper bags, because in Southampton we don't use plastic anymore. So basically her juxtaposition is to use reusable bags, which can be purchased for like $1 at the lines right before you check out, or you can even get them in other areas too. I do have a model to show everyone that is right here. I got it from, the source is chemicalandengineeringnews.com. Now, what I've found with this is very interesting, that it shows non-renewable energy, greenhouse gases, and freshwater consumption between polythene bags, which are the plastic bags, paper bags, and reusable non-woven, which is just made from recycled papers, and reusable polythene, which is reusable plastic. It's got like 40% of the reusable content. Now, what I'm going to show you here, sorry, there's a glare, is that the polythene bags use less renewable energy than the paper bags, and with the one use of the polythene non-woven bags. Now, this is important because the freshwater consumption for the paper bags is a lot more than plastic bags. So to kind of deter my thesis, paper bags are probably worse for the environment, but plastic bags get stuck in trees. They don't degenerate, they don't decompose. So getting them stuck in our oceans and our streets will be worse for the outcome. And especially now that the bag tax is stuck in legislation, we're also worrying about those in low-income areas who can't afford to pay the 5 and 10 cent taxes on these bags. So they're going to turn to plastic rather than paper because they can't afford the paper tax, unless we have some kind of legislation ideal that will push towards the retail stores and the other corporations that will have to pay for this commodity, hopefully pushing up the antics of legislative decisions, but also helping those in the community pay for their groceries without inflation, because grocers know that if they're going to have to take on that bag tax, they're going to have to inflate their prices for groceries. So hopefully with my thesis, we could find that this was controversial because of the economic factors and ecological factors, and hopefully someday, legislation can work out a sane crisis that will help those in need be able to carry what they need to carry without having to buy $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 bags.